Hi amigos, how are you? I really am very thankful for all the private messages that you've sent appreciating what I have told in those stories, and I really hope that it affects a lot of lives positively so that we can live a better life on this earth. Today we are going to learn about something which all of us are guilty of at some point or the other. We have seen those people begging on the streets, and we have immediately come to the conclusion they're looking hale and hearty. Why can't they work and earn their livelihood and their food? Similarly, when a friend of ours has taken a different version of themselves and shown it to us, we have not been that accepting. Even when a younger person in a family dies, when the older people are there, we have been heartless enough to tell that why is God so cruel? He could have taken the older person rather than the younger person. I want us all to stop trying to judge others by whatever means that we employ, because we do not know what their story is. And that is something that we have to be aware of the next time we try to judge a person. So I've come forward with a heart-wrenching true story, which is something which you'll not forget, and I hope that will stop us from judging others unfavorably. So here we have a young teacher who had 3 boys and 1 girl, and she has just entered into the school, and all her colleagues are whispering amongst themselves, and we could overhear one of those ladies telling, "Oh, just today she's come off. How come she's come so early back to school?" And then she walks with her head held high, without any tears, but her eyes are red and swollen. She walks towards her office and she goes about conducting her classes. The exams were scheduled on that day. The 10th board exams were scheduled for that day. She goes about discharging her duty as a proper teacher. And then let us go back and see what her story is. Why people are whispering when she's doing all that she's doing in the school is her job. She's not doing anything extra. She's not doing anything out of the ordinary. She was not doing anything wrong. But for doing a duty, why were her colleagues whispering amongst themselves? This whispering started when she entered the campus at 8 in the morning and went on till she left the campus at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So the reason for this whispering, we need to go back and see what was happening. So I told you that she's a young mother with 3 sons and 1 daughter. And her husband was not into working. Though he was very intelligent and well educated, he decided that he does not want to work and instead want to keep studying. So he kept on studying, but he was not contributing a single rupee to the household. So this mother, this young mother who was a teacher, needed to bear the weight of looking after those 3 sons, 1 daughter, husband and herself. So she had to go for work. Only then she can provide bread and butter for her family. So she needed to go every single day. And she was a young mother who had recently delivered a girl child that she had prayed for and had finally got. So this girl child was hardly 1 month when, because the child was running a temperature and the mother did not have enough money, she needed to go to school and do some extra work in order to get some money to take her child to the doctor. So before leaving the household, she called her second son, who was the most responsible out of the 3 young brats that she had. Yes, they were brats because they were very young children who were aged just 7, 6 and 3. 7, 6 and 3. So she calls her 6-year-old and says, "Mummy needs to go to work today. You need to look after your sister. She's not feeling well and you need to just give her milk whenever she cries." So she had put the milk bottles in the refrigerator and told him how to go about heating it and make it mildly warm before he gives it to his sister. And the child is placed inside a net so that no insects or anything can go near her. So this child looks at his sister after the mother has left and plays with her for some time. The child already is running a temperature, so she barely opens her eyes, looks at her brother, and there's a faint smile on her face when the brother tries to play with some gimmicks in front of her. And later, when the boy finds the child is crying, he goes, heats the milk and brings it and gives it to his sister. She drinks it. As she's drinking, suddenly she stops drinking and the bottle falls off from her mouth. The young boy assumes that the child has had enough of the milk and has slept. So he removes the bottle, places a net over her, and steps outside just to play with his friends. By that time, when he came back, he found that ants were all around his sister's body. She was not crying or anything. And his mother also enters at the time that he comes back to see his sister after 1 hour of play with his friends. And the mother starts screaming, "Oh, why did you leave the baby and go? Can't you see the ants are all around her?" And then she lifts the net and she touches the child and knows immediately that something is wrong because the body is chill. The child is dead. And the young mother wails out. All her prayers have been answered with this girl baby that she really wanted. But now she was holding the lifeless body of her dead child. And then she started wailing and the neighbors came in. The normal thing where they're trying to console her, but she's inconsolable and all that. But then the husband steps in, and when the people start discussing about the funeral service for the child, and when the expenses are brought up, the father just looks at the people and says, "I don't have any money. I have never been bothered much about money, and I don't have any money at this point of time." The wailing mother does not even have the privilege of grieving over the dead daughter. She looks at her husband and she knows what she has to do. The next day, she gets up. The lifeless body of her child is there in the house, and she moves out and goes to her workplace. That is where we saw her in the beginning, friends. Amigos, look, go back to that scene again and see the others whispering. And she walks in because if she goes and attends this extra duty, she will get some extra money which she can use for the funeral of her daughter. That was her circumstance. But her friends and her colleagues who were there around her judged her as a heartless mom who did not even stay to grieve for her child. The very next day after the death of her child, she was there at school doing duty. She's so greedy for money, or she is not bothered about her daughter. These were all the thoughts which were running in the minds of all those people who were talking about her. But only she knew that if she had not stepped out, then the funeral service of her child would be affected. So friends, I know it's something which is unbearable because this has really happened to a lady. And I want you all to think the next time you want to judge somebody, thinking that person is a bad person, should have done this, should have done that. Never ever do that, because you and I do not know what that person has been through. Let us make the life of everybody that we see much better by in some way helping them, enabling them in order to lead a happier life. If we don't even do that, fine. It's fine if we don't actually do that, but at least let us not hurt them with our words and our thoughts. Please do not judge others. Thank you so much, amigos. See you again next time.